Hello to all our magical listeners. We are Marie and Kate. Together, we love to chat about mindful magic. Mindful magic is intentionally, mindfully traveling through each day, each task, every mundane thing you need to do with a magical mindset. Let's get magical and start this episode. Hello out there to all our magical listeners. I'm Marie.
And I'm Kate. And our approach to this podcast and our spiritual practices are not like any other that you will come across. So keep an open mind. Feel free to ask us any questions, send us emails of any topics that you want us to cover or go more in depth on. We're so excited to share everything that we have learned together and to continue growing and learning together.
And so, just a quick intro about us since this is our very first podcast. Kate and I met online. It's an online love story. I auditioned to narrate Kate's book, Angel Magic, and she loved my audition, of course. And we've been sisters ever since.
It was practical magic, too, that brought us together.
This is so true. Who doesn't love practical magic? So I live in Hawaii.
And I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
And, we both realize we have a love for all things magical and witchy. So here we are. So we kick off our very first podcast with Everything October. This will be a 4-part episode chatting about our favorite month, from zodiac signs, birthstones, magical herbs and uses, and of course, Samhain, otherwise known as Halloween.
And it's Libra and Scorpio season. I'm so excited to start talking about that because I'm a Libra and I can feel the magic. I can feel it. This is my time of year. And I know that other Libras do too because I talk with them all the time and I'm just really excited. So people born between September 23rd and October 22nd are Libras. And people born between October 23rd and November 21st are Scorpios. And Libras, I feel like there's so many different types of Libras, but typically, Libras are described as peacemakers, empathetic, creative, great listeners, people pleasers, charming, social, and indecisive. Libras are extroverted, although I do go back and forth. I want to say I'm 50-50 extrovert, introvert, just depends on the day. And Libras are really friendly, but we're friendly because we like everyone to be happy around us all the time. We are friendly for just because we're friendly, but also because we want everyone to be happy. So Libras, like the scales that symbolize the sign, are often concerned about attaining balance, harmony, peace, and justice in the world. So with our charm, intelligence, frankness, persuasion, and seamless connectivity, we're well equipped to do that. Now, Scorpios, my daughter is a Scorpio. They're intuitive, tenacious, loyal, intense, stubborn, brave, possessive, and passionate. But they're often misunderstood because of their intensity and their tendency to be harsh. So they're also extremely emotional and crave intimacy. They have a really powerful and demanding presence, and they love mystery, but this also makes them one of the most interesting signs.
And, speaking of that, like babies born in October, now, according to some research, babies born in October may be more physically fit. And that, according to some research, babies born in October may be more physically fit and athletic than those born in other months. I read this over and over online, but I really couldn't find a source for that. So maybe it's the October babies putting that out there. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
However,
It wasn't
you. Are you sure? However, a study by Yale University researchers found that fewer women go into labor and give birth on Halloween than other days in October. And isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Yeah.
The
Why
veil.
would that be? Maybe it is. Maybe because the veil is thinner. So we all love our full moons, don't we?
Yes.
So let's talk about the full moons in October. So we're coming out of September and just past the autumnal equinox, the fall equinox. And after that equinox, the next full moon is called the Hunter's Moon. This arrives on Saturday, October 28th. So that means that, the Halloween holiday is going to be brightly lit because it'll still be pretty big by the 31st. The Hunter's Moon rises relatively early in the evening, and it's provided extra light for the hunters and gatherers to make the most of the fading daylight hours. hence the name, the hunter's moon. October's full moon brings the season of the hunt, preservation, and preparation for the icy cold days and nights to come. The hunter's moon's spiritual meaning is focused on internal work and self-reflection. We now begin the dark half of the year. Accept and welcome the darkness with open arms and spirit. Before industrialism, people focused on harvesting and preparing, their food for the coming of winter. And failure to do so meant facing one's own death or mortality if the gathered and stored food ran out,
Wow.
right?
Yeah. Wow.
So you got to utilize that harvest moon to go out to the grocery store these
Yeah.
days. But we all can feel the magical energy in the air as we head towards Samhain, otherwise known as Halloween. And the veil between the two worlds, the physical and non physical world, the spiritual world, grows thin. This increases your ability to communicate with your ancestors or loved ones. It's an opportunity for spiritual growth, goal setting, gratitude, and finding ways to slow down and enjoy the fall season. We all love this time of year so much. I don't know anybody who doesn't love this time of year. Everybody gets so jazzed about it.
Yes, they do. And I think that the reason why I don't know anybody is my mind, I don't think I've ever met someone that doesn't enjoy fall. It's just so fun. It's full of magic and it inspires me. I feel so creative. I actually feel more outgoing myself.
Yeah, and like where you are, I mean, beautiful, seasonal changes where you get the changing of the leaves and all those beautiful colors.
Yes.
Not so much here in Hawaii, but I look forward to it here because that's when things start to cool down.
Mhm.
We get that cooler weather, and that I just love that here. That's my favorite time.
And I love getting my boots back out.
Oh, yes, our cold weather clothes. I love it. I love it. Yeah. And so this October energy is potent for magic, right? For rituals and a beautiful time of inward growth and reflection.
Anything that you focus on really at this time is just so potent. So it's important to be really focused on where you're focusing your energy on and what.
Yeah. And be clear about it.
Yes.
And we're going to have an entire part of this October series dedicated to Samhain, otherwise known as Halloween. We will touch on it during this episode, but we're going to go more in depth. So, some just getting back to the full moon and some of the spiritual meanings and intentions. So, you can set intentions for gratitude because a full moon is always transitioning from, waxing to waning. So, there's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of symbolism there.
With Samhain, and to touch more on the transitions is the energy with the Samhain energy makes it that much more that the energy potent because you're in that's a transition period as well. With the light, changing from light to dark, we're going into that colder season too.
Exactly, exactly. And so during all of that, you can focus on your divination work, think about things like the afterlife and, your loved ones that have passed, shadow work, harvesting, preservation, and dream therapy and angel magic. And we'll talk about we'll go into more depth definitely in other episodes about all of that. So there's some crystals to help you enhance your intentions for this full moon. There's like amethyst, black tourmaline, quartz, obsidian, moonstone, bloodstone, and carnelian. And we'll talk a little bit more about those when we get to the spell portion of the podcast. And Kate, how about some meteor showers?
Yes, yes. I'm excited for that.
I know. It's always, they always say where is the best place to watch them from. And, where I live, we have a lot of cloudy nights. So unfortunately, it's hard to watch them without driving like to a higher part of the island or a different part. But man, they're just so magical. We have the Draconid meteor shower in the late evening of October through the 10th. And it seems like this year it's going to be peaking on the 7th and 8th, according to different sources. And then, of course, the Orionid meteor shower.
I used to be able to watch them living in the city. I can't see them either. So if I were to travel up and visit my family, I would see them, but not in where I'm living now.
Yeah. it's just so magical to be able to go somewhere safe at night and with a clear sky with no moon. And let's see, since the full moon isn't going to be until the 28th, like the Draconid meteor shower, people should be able to see much better than the Orionid since it's getting closer to the full moon, but definitely in a place of less light pollution, right?
Yes. We'll just have to wait for the post for everyone to post their if they get any images or video.
Yeah, God, it's just so magical. So around this time also, fall is the best time to plant garlic and your bulbs for spring flowers. The ground hasn't gotten too hard to plant yet, and it's, they need to go through that cooling period, right? That frozen period.
Yes. And then you
And
don't have to worry about forgetting about them in the spring.
yeah, it's like this
I'm
magic
still
that
learning.
happens. You plant them in the
I'm not a
fall
green
and then
witch.
what's that?
I said I'm not a green witch, unfortunately, at least not yet.
I think you are. You need to get your land and then
Yeah,
it's going to all spring into action.
I agree.
I can't wait for that. So there's just some folklore too about the season and about October, which is it always interests me when where do these sayings and phrases come from? These old-timey kind of sayings. So there's one that says, when deer are in a gray coat in October, expect a hard winter. So I guess if you're in an area where there's deer and they have their gray coat, it's a thicker coat coming early. So that means that it's going to be a colder winter. And similarly, when birds and badgers are fat in October, a cold winter is expected. So obviously the birds and badgers, like when do you
What
see
about
birds and
squirrels?
badgers?
My squirrels, I'll have to keep an eye. Maybe that's the same for squirrels. But I also feed
Right.
way too much, so that might just be a year-round thing for them.
Yeah. Right. We don't have badgers here, so I just think
Yeah,
badgers
the
are kind of
badger,
funny.
that's funny.
And then another one is much rain in October, much wind in December. So
Ooh.
I guess that's been a tried and true, folklore saying. Another one, let's see, a warm October means a cold February.
So Michigan, it's been warm.
Yeah,
Or
so that kind of makes sense, right? If it's still warm through October, then it kind of means like possibly a lengthier, colder winter in February. But, with global warming and weather changes and changing weather patterns, I wonder how true these are going to remain.
right, that's true. I feel like I can picture an old farmer saying these things. Like my
Yeah,
grandparents were farmers. I can just picture my grandpa saying every single one of these.
I love it. Exactly. So let's see another one. In October, dung your field, and your land its wealth shall yield. So I
Hmm.
guess, put your manure down and make brown gold. Is that what they say?
I Wow, that's interesting. I've never heard that one.
Yeah, dung your field. And then another one, good October, a good blast to blow the hog acorn and mast. And so this is a line from some old folklore that means when there's strong winds in October, it can provide a feast for pigs by blowing the acorns down and the beech masts, apparently.
Glad that you found out what that meant because I didn't know when you said it.
Yeah, I had to search for it because these old-timey sayings, we just don't talk like that anymore. So it's a
No,
little different meaning.
unfortunately, we don't because it's just so much more interesting.
Except for that movie. Did you see the movie Witch with the goat Black Phillip? Always cracked me
No,
up.
I didn't.
It's interesting because the whole movie, they talk in that old timey, way of speaking. And it is really hard to decipher. You really got to pay attention because we're not used to hearing that.
The 1996 Romeo and Juliet, when that came out in the old English. I love that movie. It's just a work of art, the whole thing, the music and everything. That's what I think of when you say that, just the old way of speaking.
Yeah.
Not the same,
Just,
but just the old way of speaking, an old way of speaking.
yeah. It's poetic,
It
you know?
is. So I want to talk a little bit about spells for October now that we're
Yes.
talking about October. So the whole month of October is spiritually associated with death. So since this time of year is when the veil is the thinnest, but it's not just about death and demise. So when you view it the other way, spiritually, it's just a period of change, endings, new beginnings. And it's also in nature. We see that in nature as well as in our personal lives. And when you can, I just think that's so powerful, because when you switch your perspective to that we're just cyclic beings, what's beautiful about that is we're cyclic beings. When you really think about that, and I mean, when I say really think about that, because I've read and read about that for years, but I feel like I just got it. And like a couple of years ago, I'm like, wow, we really are cyclic beings. So when you think of death, it's not death. It's not dark. It's not terrible. It's death can be leaving a job but getting a better one, or death can be changing your hair. I think that it's just beautiful to think about transitions as not only terrible. Anyways, so this is in nature as well. We see this in nature and in our personal lives. So October is all about change and death, which is endings and getting ready for a new beginning. So, with that in mind, you can spend October taking steps to spiritually protect your home against negativity. And then this is also going to be creating space for you to welcome positive change. I love it with my daughter and I in the morning. If I feel like kind of down in the morning and not motivated, I tell her, let's create a vibe. So, we turn on our favorite music that's like upbeat, positive, and then we get out our sage, and her and I will smudge the house, and I immediately feel a shift. It's just setting that intention to create that space to welcome in positivity. And it's really powerful, and it's really simple, and it's fun. Creating that space, protecting your home is really important. And on the night of the full moon, with this potent illuminating energy, this is the perfect time to perform protection spells and rituals. So the full moon's great for rituals, especially ones that are intended to restore balance and safety to your living space. So if you don't think you're going to be in the mood to do this throughout the winter, just at least doing it once now and taking advantage of this potent energy, it's a really great time to do that. And it'll be worth your time too, even more, to make that ritual part of your monthly routine. I feel that especially in the winter, we're kind of cooped up, at least in Michigan we are. It's really important to keep your space clear, to claim your space as often as you can. And it's going to also help you be open to receive and adapt to the year's changes. Those protection spells, this is just a perfect time to do that.
Yeah, and for those listeners and viewers that may be kind of new to this, mindful magic and kind of infusing your daily routines with magic, this is a really great time to start making it a routine. Like Kate's saying, change the energy in your house. You change that and it changes you, changes your pets, it changes the flow.
Women of the house, when you're a woman, we have that. We already have obviously access to that feminine energy where we are the nurturers. We create things. We create and we set the tone for the house. Like you were saying, when you claim your space and you kind of force it to be the way you want it to be, like a mom, this is the way things are. And you can use that in a positive way. You can create so much happiness for not just yourself, but others, your family members, your pets, like you were saying. It's just a wonderful time to be in that feminine energy, that creative, that nurturing.
Yeah. So just kind of piggybacking on that, you can do seasonal energy maintenance in your house and on yourself. So piggybacking on that, you can do, seasonal energy maintenance on yourself, on your house, on your situations in life, like your work and your playtime, your family time. So we have this maintenance spell. So this maintenance spell is set to be performed at every full moon, but you can vary the schedule according to your needs. Solstices and equinoxes are great, or even the first of every month, whatever schedule works for you. And alternately, perhaps you function best on a regular calendar type schedule, and planning a regular cleansing on the same date every month will help you keep your rhythm. Choose a time that'll work for you and blend into your schedule with the least amount of stress. The point is to do it regularly as your space requires and your schedule allows. It's not meant to be stressful or even something you have to do. It should be something you want to do to just cleanse and improve the energy of your space. So this is a really, really simple energy maintenance and clearing spell. Some of the things you'll need: some incense, and you can use the incense that you light and you keep in an incense censer, or some sage or Palo Santo, frankincense resin burning on, the little charcoal tab. Anything you want. This is your choice. But, please do always remember to practice good fire safety. Of course, you'll need something to light it with. a small dish of water, and just a teaspoon of salt. Sea salt or Himalayan salt is best, but if all you have is table salt, then that'll work too. On the day of the full moon or the day before or following it, get everything that you'll need. Now, the moon is technically full for 3 days energy wise, so you have a little leeway there. Center and ground yourself, take a few cleansing, really deep breaths. And this is something that you can say: negative energy, darkness, and fear, I banish you all, so I'm in the clear. And you can say we're in the clear if you're just speaking about your family and your household. By the power of this spell, heed my call to banish the darkness well. It's just about setting an intention, and your words carry vibrations and energy, that just make this all the more powerful. You're going to carry your sage, your Palo Santo, your incense in a counterclockwise direction through your house. You're going to light it and bring that smoke into each room. Step into each room and circulate counterclockwise, kind of waving the smoke into the corners and under furniture and behind bookcases, definitely into the closets with your free hand, or just use a large feather. And visualize the negative, visualize any lurking or lingering negative energy as like a murky fog that dissipates as the incense swirls into it. The visualization is really important as well. And just repeat those words as you walk through your house, if you like. The intention is to just clear out any negative energy and make room for just beautiful, divine white light and energy. When you reach your starting point, put your incense down and sprinkle the salt into the water and stir it around with your finger. You're essentially making just a very light mixture of salt water. And you can visualize drawing energy up from the ground and down through your arm to pass from your finger into the water, just infusing it even more with beautiful energy. And as you do this, you can say, safety, health, and abundance fill this home. Blessings and joy are all that are known. These are our little spells, my little spells, Kate's little spells, but there are other sayings out there as well. We're just giving you guys something to start with. So next, walk your house now in a clockwise direction with your saltwater bowl, and dip your fingers into the water and flick them into the air as you circulate through your rooms, and repeat the words if you feel like it as you move through your house. The reason that you don't make a really heavy saltwater mixture is that when the droplets dry, there's going to be salt crystals there. Unless you don't mind that, but salt can be corrosive to certain things, paint and finishes and some woods and stuff like that. So make a very, very light salt water mixture. It's all in the intention, and it still is powerful. When you reach your starting point, just put the water down and say, and so it is. That's really, it's such a simple thing, but you're walking your home, you're going to every corner, and you're just, houses have energy. They have their own energy, and to connect with that and to merge with it and to cleanse it is a really powerful thing.
Yes, I totally agree. I noticed when I did that, Marie, I read in one of my fairy books. I don't remember which one it was, but they said that every house has a spirit, like you were saying. And when you make the effort to connect with your house, you'll notice changes. Well, I noticed new growth and no more ants. There
Oh,
weren't any.
wow.
So, I mean, it's just little, I did notice changes. And so I just wanted to add that in there. I thought it was really interesting. It's just, we really do live in a magic, like, life is magic. And I love when you learn new things about how magic is in the mundane.
Yeah, magic in the mundane, and that's what we're trying to do here.
So, I love that. And I'm excited for full moon because I want to do it again now. Reading that, I'm all motivated to go in and do it.
Yep, me too.
I want to go and start talking about Samhain. We'll start there. Samhain. So in Celtic Ireland, about 2,000 years ago, Samhain was the division of the year between the lighter half, summer, and the darker half, winter. So at Samhain, the veil between this world and the other world is at its thinnest, and this allows spirits to pass through, our ancestors to communicate with us. I know that my deceased relatives and ancestors, I'm already feeling that. My brother was he liked to joke around and play jokes on me, and he has been pulling my hair and tickling me, and I think there's like a fly on me or something, and it's not. I feel them close already, and it's already starting. So stuff like that, you'll feel the shift. And Samhain is also the Celtic New Year. So there's a lot of rituals associated with Samhain, including spells, bonfires, and altars. So spells, I want to mention a book. If you are a beginner and you're looking for, you don't know where to start, 13 simple and affordable Halloween spells and rituals for the witch's new year. This is a book available on Amazon. So that includes spells and rituals for Samhain. And then also Annie Finch, she's a poet. She performs spells for Samhain on YouTube. So YouTube, check her out. And then that's a great book if you're looking for, a place to start. In 13 Simple. I love simple. Another bonfire. So in the Druid and Celtic tradition, Samhain is celebrated on October 31st with a festival that often includes a bonfire lit on a hilltop. The Druids would make sacrifices to the gods, sometimes by burning them in the bonfire, and then every fire that they light for the rest of the night, they use that fire. So I thought that was really interesting. I went on their website, their tourist website, and it shows you images from the Samhain festival, and it's amazing. And they show the fire, and they also do like ghost walks and stuff. The bonfire, I thought that was really neat about that. And then another ritual or something that you can do for Samhain is create an altar space. An altar, this doesn't have to be elaborate. It can be small. It can be a windowsill, a dresser top, a little spot anywhere. So altars are built to honor your ancestors, which may include fall crops like apples, pumpkins, to symbolize the end of the harvest and for Samhain. You can add pictures of your ancestors and deceased relatives, or items that they loved, items that remind you of them. And then archangel to call upon for Samhain, archangels, more than one. Archangel Azrael is the archangel. Some call him the angel of death, but Archangel Azrael is wonderful for grief. If you're grieving, if you know anyone that's grieving, Archangel Azrael can assist you in transitions. If you're going through major life changes, to comfort you, give you strength during hard times, to help you feel at peace, but to also connect with your deceased loved ones and ancestors. I work with Archangel Azrael for my mediumship readings. So if you want to feel extra close to anyone that's passed away, Archangel Azrael will help you strengthen that connection and also help enhance your abilities. Archangel Michael is for protection, of course, direction towards your life purpose, to help you call your energy back, and direction towards your life purpose. Archangel Raphael is the archangel of healing. So Archangel Raphael can send you healing in all aspects of your life. If you are grieving during Samhain while you're creating your altar space or reflecting, Archangel Raphael can send you healing, as well as help you stay healthy during the winter months. So Archangel Raphael, I recommended for that too. Archangel Raziel will assist you with developing your spiritual abilities and for understanding spiritual truths, wisdom, anything that you want to, when you're trying to study a new topic of interest, Archangel Raziel can help you understand that and really help you see what it is that you need from that, to take what you need from it. And Archangel Haniel is the archangel of the moon. She is for emotions, grace, handling any situations with grace, and also if you need for public speaking. But I put Haniel in there for the Samhain because Haniel will assist you in developing your psychic abilities, as well as, since she is the archangel of the moon, assisting you with any dreams or connecting with your deceased relatives. And I say that because if you're not as open to communication with them, they communicate with you through your dreams. So that's another reason why I have Raziel and Haniel, because that is also what they specialize in.
We love our archangels. I mean, if anybody out there is in doubt that they're real or they don't really help you, I mean, I'm just here to dispel that. I have asked for signs and I get signs and right away. And I mean, all you have to do is ask for help. ask for assistance with stuff. They're waiting. I mean, it's just really
Oh,
remarkable when you focus on that. And one thing that I read a long time ago, kind of about the Samhain, traditions and stuff, and especially in speaking about connecting with deceased relatives. And this had to do with, I think, after my mom passed in 1996, is to light a candle and they would put it in the windowsill because that would help their deceased loved ones. The candlelight would help the deceased loved ones find their way home. So I just thought that was really sweet. And I always light a candle for my deceased relatives. I just think that's a really beautiful way to honor them. And Kate and I both have lost our brothers. And so that's something that we have in common. And, that's something that we'll definitely be calling upon this Samhain to connect. It's just like Kate said, her brother's already there. And I have been seeing so many feathers. My brother leaves me feathers and they're all over the place. And it's just a comfort. Those signs are there for you. There are no coincidences, so believe them.
yes. Being open like we are, I don't know how I would have handled the grief. I mean, Delia was born right after my brother passed, but if it wasn't for my faith and knowing that he wasn't really gone, he's still here, I don't know what I would have done. It brings you so much comfort knowing that every mediumship reading I've ever done, I've never had someone that was in hell. I've never experienced that. They're always happy. A really common thing that I actually picked up with your brother, Marie, is he was amazed at how big his soul is and how he was like, wow, like he was in heaven, and it was amazing. And it just brings you a lot of comfort. So Samhain is just such an amazing time to heal and to connect with them.
Absolutely. I just, it's like Samhain comes and goes and I'm sad. I'm like, oh no, I have to wait a year again because, the energy, it's just such a beautiful time of year. And, when I was younger, and I'm sure you too, it's like you go to Halloween parties, but and you do that kind of stuff and gatherings and get dressed up and all that kind of fun stuff. But like for the past decade or so, I have just told people, you know what? It's my sacred night. Don't bother me. That's my night. When I worked EMS, I loved working on Halloween because it was just fun. You go to a lot of silly calls and stuff, but started calling in sick. Honestly, it was full disclosure because that was my sacred night. That is my holiday. It's that important.
I totally agree. And we
Yeah.
actually started doing trunk or treats before Halloween. So we stay home on Halloween as well. And also because it's so cold here in Michigan for Halloween that they start trunk or treats earlier, like 2 weeks earlier. So we get all their trick or treating done early and then we're home usually on Halloween night. Unless there's
Right. Unless you're like all dressing up as bears or something, you really
right.
can't go out.
In Michigan, we grew up winter coats over our Halloween costumes every year. It was so sick.
Right, 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 exactly. And so, the tradition of dressing up and wearing costumes comes from the pagan practices of dressing as animals and ancestors to communicate with them and invoke their wisdom during this sacred time. I mean, not just the Celts, but like the people of Mexico paint skulls on their faces to honor and invoke their dead loved ones during the Dia de las Muertas, the Day of the Dead. And even the Christians honor their saints and celebrate All Saints Day. That's on November 1st. But, it's a very special time of year. There's some things that, we can do. And again, this is just sort of piggybacking on what Kate already said, is to create an ancestor altar in your home with photos and keepsakes and or light a candle. And I'm going to say this just for fire safety. My husband is a firefighter. Not always the best thing to leave a candle burning in your windowsill, but it's the intention. So you can always get a battery operated flameless candle. It's about the intention and put that in your windowsill. Again, adding photos and keepsakes and all of that and do a ritual at their gravesite. If that is something that doesn't freak you out or creep you out or something. I mean, honestly, that's a cemetery and grave sites are places of honor. Nothing has ever scared me about a cemetery. It's just, I really feel like it's a huge place of honor. And I'm going to go over a little graveside ritual. And can't get to their grave to honor them, then light the candle, incense, flameless candle, meditate, just try to communicate. Picture them in your mind and catch them up on your life. Talk to them. Obviously, Kate and I believe in the fact that, your physical body is just a body and your soul is eternal. And, once you pass, you're just sort of jumping out of your physical body, but your soul is still there. And I have just heard over and over and over again, they want us to talk to them. They're like, we're still here, just talk to us. So I find it just really endearing to have a conversation. You might not hear them answer back, but if you ask them for a sign that they hear you or that they're still around you, you will get that sign. You will get that sign. And however small it is, don't take it for granted and don't think that it's just a coincidence.
No. Um, yeah, Marie, you were talking about the graveside ritual, which is, I love that. I grew up playing in a cemetery by my house, and it reminds me of my friend Esme. She lived in Kentucky, and she would actually go have picnics in the cemetery with the gravestones that were really rough. And she's like, I just feel like they need some attention or some love. And she would go have lunch in the cemetery. And I thought that was really sweet.
That's really sweet. That is really sweet. Yeah.
And when she said that, my son Thaddeus now is like, Mom, we need to go to a cemetery and have lunch. That's like Thad's next goal. He wants to go. He is fascinated with them. So we're going to be doing that soon. So I love that. I wanted to add that in. I thought it was really neat.
Oh, I really like that. Okay, guys, I think this is probably a good place to sort of end this episode, and we'll continue next week with some more Halloween traditions and the rest of everything October.
If you have any questions or topics you would like to hear Marie and I discuss, please comment below, send us a message, or reach out to us on Instagram. We like to close each episode with a moment of mindfulness. Take a deep breath and think about what you're grateful for today. We're now going to bless everything that you're grateful for and let your higher self and guides know that you are open for even more blessings. We bid you farewell until we meet again. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. We hope your day is filled with love, happiness, undeniable signs, and mindful magic. You can check out Marie's handmade candles, soaps, lotions, and more at kitchenwitchhawaii.com, and you can follow her on Instagram. You can book an angel reading with me, check out my books, and sign up for our Angel Magic community at katewhitneyofficial.com. And be sure to follow Mindful Magic on YouTube at Mindful Magic Channel. We are also on Facebook and Instagram.